Hey there. Have you ever caught yourself wondering if the years after 60 mean you're supposed to slow down, lean on others, or let someone else take the wheel? Maybe you've had a friend or a family member nudge you with a well-meaning, "Don't you think it's time to get some help?" And it just didn't sit right. Well, I'm here to tell you something that might turn that idea on its head. You don't need help after 60, not if you don't want it. In fact, mastering independence at this stage of life can feel like the most natural, empowering thing in the world. It's not about proving anything to anyone else. It's about living your way, on your terms, with the confidence that you've got this. And trust me, you do. Today, we're going to walk through 6 reasons why you don't need help after 60, and how you can master independence like a pro. These aren't pie-in-the-sky ideas or things that only work for someone else. They're real, practical ways to keep running your own show, whether that's keeping up your home, your health, or just your sense of who you are. I've seen folks just like you, neighbors, friends, even my own dad, take these steps and come out stronger, happier, and more in charge than ever. So, let's jump right in with the first reason, because it's one that hits home for a lot of us. The first reason you don't need help is that you've already got a lifetime of know-how under your belt. Think about it. By the time you hit 60, you've fixed leaky faucets, balanced budgets, raised kids, or helped friends through tough spots, and figured out how to get dinner on the table even when the power's out. That's not just experience. That's wisdom you can tap into every single day. My buddy Tom, who's 63, likes to say he's his own handyman, doctor, and chef all rolled into one. Last winter, his furnace started acting up, and instead of calling someone right away, he pulled out the manual, watched a quick video online, and had it humming again by lunchtime. He didn't need a repair guy because he trusted what he already knew, and added a little curiosity to fill in the gaps. You've got that same grit, whether it's troubleshooting a problem or just knowing how to pace yourself. You've built a toolbox of skills over the decades. Lean on that. It's not about doing everything perfectly. It's about knowing you can figure it out, and that's more than enough to keep you independent. Now, if your experience is the foundation, the second reason builds right on top of it. You can adapt like nobody's business. Life after 60 isn't about pretending you're 30. It's about tweaking things so they work for you now. Take my Aunt Linda, for instance. She's 67 and loves her garden, but bending over those flower beds started to wear her out. Did she give it up or hire someone? Nope. She got herself a little rolling stool from a hardware store, plopped down on it, and kept right on planting. That's adapting. Finding a way to keep doing what you love without handing it off to someone else. Maybe for you, it's switching to a lighter vacuum cleaner, setting up a chair to sit while you cook, or ordering groceries online instead of lugging them home. You don't need help when you can shift gears like that. It's not a sign of weakness, it's a mark of smarts, and it keeps you in the driver's seat, running your life the way you want. So, we've got your experience keeping you steady, and your ability to adapt keeping you flexible. 2 solid reasons you don't need anyone stepping in to take over. But independence isn't just about what you do. It's about how you feel too. And that's where the third reason comes in. Because it's all about the power of your own company. Let's dive into that next, because it's a game changer that'll have you smiling at just how strong you really are. Alright, so you've got a lifetime of know-how keeping you steady, and a knack for adapting that keeps you rolling with the punches. 2 big reasons you don't need help after 60. You're already seeing how this independence thing is less about what others think and more about what you know you can handle. Now, let's talk about something that really lights up this whole idea. The third reason you don't need help is that you're pretty darn good company for yourself. I mean it. After 60, you've spent enough years in your own skin to know what makes you tick, what makes you laugh, and what keeps you going. And that's a superpower when it comes to mastering independence. Think about those quiet moments, like when you're sipping tea on the porch or flipping through a book you've been meaning to read. My friend Doris, who's 64, swears by her evenings alone with a good mystery novel and a plate of cookies she baked herself. She used to feel like she needed people around all the time, family popping in, neighbors chatting over the fence. But one day she realized she liked her own rhythm just as much. She didn't need someone else to fill the silence. She filled it herself with things she loved. That's what I'm talking about. Enjoying your own company isn't lonely, it's liberating. You can set your own pace, pick your own pleasures, and skip the guilt of not keeping up with everyone else's schedule. Maybe you've got a hobby you've been itching to dive back into, like knitting or tinkering with model trains. Or maybe you just want to sit and watch the birds out back. Whatever it is, you don't need anyone's permission or assistance to make it happen. That's independence in its purest form, knowing you're enough, just as you are. And while you're savoring that freedom of being your own best buddy, the fourth reason slides right in. You've got the power to simplify your world. Life after 60 doesn't have to be a juggling act of a million responsibilities. Heck, you've earned the right to trim it down to what really matters. Take my neighbor Ed, for example. He's 66 and used to spend hours mowing a big lawn and fussing over a house full of stuff he didn't even use. One summer, he decided he'd had enough. He sold half his furniture, moved into a smaller place with a tiny yard, and now he's got time to fish whenever he wants. He didn't need help to keep up with the old life. He just cut out the extra weight and made it work for him. Simplifying isn't about giving up. It's about choosing what's worth your energy. Maybe for you, it's saying no to hosting big dinners if they tire you out, or passing on chores that don't spark joy, like scrubbing baseboards nobody sees anyway. You don't need someone else to step in when you can just let go of what's dragging you down. That's your call, and it keeps you running the show. So, loving your own company gives you peace, and simplifying your load keeps you light on your feet. Two more pieces of this independence puzzle falling into place. You're probably starting to feel how these reasons build on each other, right? It's like a snowball rolling downhill, picking up strength as it goes. And that brings us to the fifth reason, which is all about keeping your body in tune, so you can keep doing all this great stuff on your own. Let's roll into that next, because it's a big one that ties everything together. So here we are. You've got a treasure chest of experience, a knack for adapting, a love for your own company, and a smart way of keeping life simple. These reasons are stacking up like a sturdy ladder, lifting you higher into that sweet spot of independence after 60. You're probably feeling pretty good about this, and you should, because you're already proving you don't need help to live life your way. Now, let's talk about the fifth reason, and it's one that keeps the whole engine running. You can tune up your body to stay in the game. I'm not talking about turning into a gym rat or chasing some impossible fitness goal, just keeping yourself strong and steady enough to do what you love, without anyone hovering over you. Take my pal Jack, for instance. He's 68 and still hauls his own firewood every fall. A few years back, he noticed his back was grumbling more than usual, and instead of calling his son to take over, he started doing some simple stretches every morning. Nothing fancy, just a few bends and twists he picked up from a library book. Now he's stacking logs like it's no big deal, and he grins every time he tells me he didn't need a helping hand. That's the trick. Little moves that keep your body humming. Maybe for you, it's a walk around the block to loosen up your knees, or lifting a couple of soup cans while the coffee brews to keep your arms steady. You don't need a trainer or a nurse. You just need to listen to what your body's telling you and give it a nudge in the right direction. It's like maintaining an old car you've driven for years. You know its quirks, and you know how to keep it purring. That's how you stay independent, doing the things you've always done, because you've kept the machine in tune. Now, while your body's holding up its end of the bargain, the sixth reason wraps this all up with a bow. You've got the grit to say no when you need to. Independence after 60 isn't just about what you do. It's about what you don't do too. You've earned the right to draw a line in the sand and turn down the help that doesn't feel right. My cousin Ruth, who's 62, used to let everyone, her kids, her neighbors, even the lady at church, step in with advice or offers she didn't want. One day, she just stopped. She told her daughter, "Thanks, but I've got the laundry covered," and waved off the neighbor who kept insisting on carrying her groceries. It wasn't rude, it was confident. She knew she could handle it, and she didn't need to prove it to anyone but herself. That's you too. You can say no to the well-meaning folks who think you need a hand, because you've got the guts and the know-how to keep going solo. It's your life, your rules, and that's the final piece that locks this independence in place. So there you have it. 6 reasons you don't need help after 60, all flowing together like a river you've been steering for years. Your experience keeps you sharp, adapting keeps you flexible, your own company keeps you content, simplifying keeps you light, tuning your body keeps you strong, and saying no keeps you in charge. It's not about doing it all alone every minute. It's about knowing you can and choosing when you want to. I'd love to hear how you're mastering this in your own life. What's your secret to staying independent? Drop it in the comments below, because your story might just spark something for someone else watching. If this hit home for you, give the video a thumbs up. It helps us reach more folks who want to keep running their own show. And hit that subscribe button too, because we've got more coming to keep you fired up and living your way. Here's to owning every day after 60. You've got this.